Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Kaisa supplementary guide, and today we're going to be taking a look at crit Kaisa. So as I mentioned with the AP Kaisa video as well, basically after the on-hit items got nerfed, I still think on-hit is the best build for Kaisa. However, this did lead to a lot of AP and crit Kaisa builds cropping up. So let's take a look at what you want to build if you go for crit Kaisa and why. So first item you want to rush is, of course, before you go for boots, you want to complete a first item to get your Q evolution. So you're going to go for the Hextech Stormrazor. So Hextech Stormrazor is a very strong, I wouldn't say not exactly really strong. It's strong in the early game, but not strong in the late game. So it's a pretty strong early game item. But most importantly, it's a relatively cheap item. So you can see here that it costs only 3,000, which means that you can get your Q evolution before Dragon and Herald spawns. You also get some nice stats, and of course you get that extra damage on your auto attack that also speeds you up and slows the enemies down. So it's gonna help you out a lot in the early game. So next up you want to go for Gluttonous Greaves. So Gluttonous Greaves of course gives you the AD and the Omnivamp, and then after this you want to go for Charge Blade. So you might be wondering, why not go for, Magnetic Blaster, because it synergizes very well with the Hextech Stormrazor. Well, basically with this Kaisa build, our main goal is to kind of assassinate someone. So what we want is burst damage. So what's going to give us burst damage? Well, of course we have Stormrazor, which is going to give us that burst damage on our auto attack. Then we can go for Charge Blade, which is going to give us the burst damage on our auto attack as well, of course, after you cast your spells. With that extra, magic damage on hit damage. And of course gives you more attack speed, more crit, more ability haste as well. And I think that's kind of just what we're looking for. You could go for Blaster if you prefer that, but I think that Solari Charge Blade is actually better. So next item you're going to go for is Bloodthirster. Bloodthirster is pretty much just a stat stick item in a sense that it gives you a lot of AD, gives you physical vamp, and a lot of, not a lot, but a little bit of bonus stats when you're high on health. And then we of course go for the Mole Reminder for the Armor Pen and the Grievous Wound. So now, you might be wondering, hang on a minute, we're going for a full crit build but we're not going for IE. Well yes, you could go for IE if you wanted to. You replace Bloodthirster with IE, but personally I think that in this particular build, I actually think Bloodthirster serves a better purpose because the physical vamp is really useful for duels and you get more AD than if you build IE. Now the trade-off is you do a little bit less in terms of your crit damage, but I think that the healing that you get from Bloodthirster is a little bit more important. But again, as I said, if you value the damage more, you could just swap in IE over here. And last item, you can either go for a defensive option such as Maw, or you could go for the Rudan's Hurricane just to attack 3 people at the same time and of course help you out in the later stages of the game. So next up for the runes, we want to go for Lethal Tempo for the extra range and the extra attack speed. Brutal, of course, for the because you auto attack a lot as an ADC. Giant Slayer helps you counter the tanks, but you could also go for Coup de Grace if you're into all squishies. And Alacrity gives you more attack speed. And finally, we have Bone Plating, which is going to provide you with the defensive stats both in lane as well in the late game. And of course, spells, we're going to go for Flash together with Exhaust. So with all that said, let's take a look at the gameplay. Okay, so now let's take a look at our actual Kaisa gameplay. So you might be wondering like when you want to really go crit Kaisa. Now personally, I think that you only really want to go crit Kaisa into a like full like squishy team, because the whole like rationale of crit Kaisa is to really assassinate people, right? And Kaisa, whatever build you go, can always assassinate people, but it's gonna be a lot harder to assassinate people if there's like, a lot of tanks. I get hooked in here at level 1 like a fool, I have to exhaust MF, MS flashes forward to try to kill me, I have to flash away. And it's a horrible level 1, I've blown all of my sums. So, yep, happens to the best of us, you just get hooked, glacial procs, you're kind of stuck there, you have to blow all your sums to escape, and thankfully, I survived. It could have been worse, right? I could have exhausted and flashed and died. The good news is also that the enemy team also blew all their sums, right? MF blew Ghost, Flash, and Pike also ignited. Of course, Morgana did have to heal me. Here, Misfortune overstays, and Pike has gone warding. So, ironically, that whole kind of extended sequence led to me getting a free kill. And just like that, I've actually not just caught up, but actually overtaken MF in terms of gold already. So that is honestly a pretty funny one. We got a freebie from the MF after royally screwing up ourselves, but we are able to salvage the situation simply by, following up on Morgana's Q after MF overextends. I mean, honestly, that was nothing to do with me. That was simply, you know, MF kind of screwing up. Here I get hooked by Pyke again, and here I get stunned. The shield from Morgana comes in way too late after I already got stunned. So unfortunately, I do end up dying here. And you know, sometimes you play against those hook champions. Sometimes they just got your number, and you just eat all of them hooks. Yeah, you know, it takes two hands to clap. It's number one, how good they hook. Number two, how good you are at dodging. As you guys can see here, I'm not very good at dodging in this particular game. So here Master Yi is going in. I actually come over to the Vi to help share the damage, and this actually helps Vi to pick up the kill. Now we're seeing if we can really do anything else here. Doesn't quite look like it. Morgana has absolutely no mana, so she really needs to recall right now, so unfortunately we can't really do very much. Our main job now is to get the minions and to ensure that, not ensure, but hopefully we don't get hooked again, because if we do, we're probably just gonna die again. So we wanna, you know, just stick around, just grab minions, and yeah, just avoid getting hooked if at all possible. And yeah, there we go. So we have managed to clear the wave. So now I'm gonna go all the way back to my initial point of when you really want to play on-hit Kaisa. Of course, AP Kaisa, really obvious. You want to play it when your team's lacking AP. The default is the on-hit build, which does, of course, work very well against tanks, but also works well against like squishies, just because of how much attack speed and on-hit you have. But as I said, the crit build you really only want to play against squishy targets, because with items like Charge Blade and Storm Razor, your goal is really to burst a squishy target down like 100 to 0. You guys will see that later on in the game, where basically, for example, if someone hits CC, you can ult in, you know, QW auto, and the guy is pretty much just dead. Right, from your passive proccing and from your Storm Razor, as well as your Charge Blade proccing as well. So the guy should basically just die within a second of you flying in. That's the whole idea. So in this team, we should be able to basically do that to anybody except for maybe the Aatrox and maybe the Pyke. I say maybe the Pyke because if we dash in on the Pyke, he could dash away and stealth and regain all of his health via that way. And of course, Aatrox is you know, a bruiser, so he is relatively tanky. And that hook hits again, right? This is just not a good game for me. I thought that I was out of the hook range, but I still got hooked anyway. Thankfully, it's inconsequential. Huge Q by the Lux, we ult in, and Morgana finishes off the MF. Unfortunately, Pyke is getting away and hooks the Lux in and ults the Lux, and Lux goes down. So in the grand scheme of things, it's actually a 1-for-1 trade with both supports getting the kill. The key difference here is that Pyke has the goal sharing mechanic, so Master Yi actually gets the goal. So in the end, it's actually a negative trade for us despite starting off very, very well. So that, yeah, it doesn't turn out very well. However, you can see that 4 minutes into the game, I've already completed my Storm Razor. Now, I did get a kill, of course. I did also get 2 assists, but I also died, right? So I also lost out on some gold from minions and some XP from the first wave, you know, things like that. So in the grand scheme of things, you should be able to consistently get your Storm Razor before the first dragon spawn. Now here, Pyke basically greets for the fruit, and honestly, this nowadays this rarely happens. Like back in the day, like maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, you know, a lot of people always greed for fruit and always get punished for it, like what happened to this Pyke. But you honestly don't really see people greed for fruit anymore nowadays, because most people have kind of learned their lesson. As MF pops the ulti to clear the wave, Vi goes in, tanks the tower, and Morgana is able to KS the kill again. Apologies there. But yeah, so yeah, the Pyke does make a pretty big mistake. I mean, honestly, MF made a pretty big mistake as well. By overstaying initially, and of course I made multiple big mistakes by getting hooked non-stop. So this game is kind of a fiesta, as we are able to help our team secure the dragon, recall, and pick up our boots. But if you take a look at the overall situation now, you will see that Aatrox is incredibly fat. He has gone first tower with all the tower plates. He stomped Fiora into the ground, has double of her goal at the moment, 6k compared to 3k. Whereas the rest of my team are doing pretty well. Most people have about the same goal as me, so we're all kind of doing fine, just about 4k. And everyone on the enemy team is also kind of about the same. So basically the only differential is, of course, Aatrox versus Fiora. Pyke nearly gets hit by the binding there, which I honestly thought that would hit, but surprisingly it did. And now we're back to laning. So here, Pyke does get hooked in, however, I'm not hooked in, but does get stunned, but I don't run to actually follow up there. I don't want to ult in there because he still has his dash and he can just get away. So here, Morgana again landing a little bit more poke. And MF with a hook champion is kind of the toxic combo where if you stand behind minions you get hit by MFQ, and if you don't stand behind minions you can get hooked. So this is a kind of difficult matchup to play, just because of that kind of MF with a hook champion interaction. Here our tower is basically like one hit from dying. It's like 200 HP. We actually leave the fruit for Morgana to take for the mana, but she's not interested, so we're gonna just grab the fruit ourselves instead. Now it appears that Pyke and MF have recalled, so we're gonna be able to actually push in and maybe get like you know, some plates before the platings drop off in about half a minute's time. We do get one plate. We're trying to greet for another plate, and we are able to just get that second plate right before the enemy team comes back. Here I'm hoping that I get a shield. There we go, so I can body block for the Morgana. Thankfully Morgana plays it correctly. Where, you know, the one on the outside should be getting the shield. Aatrox is now coming at us, sorry, from behind. And yeah, you know, he's really fat. I'm gonna have to run. He has his ult, movement speed, and Morgana is able to actually black shield herself. Now he gets rooted under tower, so this is a golden opportunity to get the shutdown. Unfortunately, Morgana decides to steal the kill again. And yeah, Morgana is just stealing all of our kills right now. Morgana has like the same goal as us, and that is just horrible because we need the ADC to get the kills. And if you guys don't understand why, it's because there's a concept in the game that a lot of people don't understand, which is that all gold is not equal, right? Now let me explain what I mean by that. So let's say in this case we have a Morgana, right? So let's say when Morgana gets the gold, what does she buy, right? You can see she buys a Rylai's Crystal Scepter. Now what does Rylai's Crystal Scepter do? Well, it slows people, but it doesn't really increase your damage. It does of course increase your damage by the fact that you're slowing them, but let's say if I get the kill, right, what am I gonna buy? I'm gonna buy more AD items, and on an ADC, AD items of course translates to more auto attack damage, more attack speed, and generally just more DPS, right? So generally in a team, the goal is always best on an ADC because 200 gold on an ADC is not equal to 200 gold on a support. It's actually a very different you know, concept, as I probably am gonna die again here. But yeah, the concept is sometimes some people find it hard to understand, like, especially when like tank supports or tank junglers steal kills. It's kind of the absolute worst because them getting a kill is relatively inconsequential because, for example, if you're a tank and you just get more tank items, that is not as useful as a carry getting more damage, right? And people find that concept pretty hard to understand, and I can understand why it's hard to understand because you would think that, you know, more damage versus more tankiness, both are kind of just as good, but that's kind of not you know, not how it works, at least for the majority of the time. Now thankfully though, at least Morgana is a champion that builds AP and not just pure support items, so in a sense the goal is not as horrible on her as, like, for example, if it was like a Janna or a Soraka, you know, something like that. But again, it's always best to have the goal on the ADC. So enough about that rant. You can see that currently in the game state we're not really doing too well. We are kind of in a situation where we are 2, 3, and 5. We don't even have like 7k gold, and you can see majority of the enemy team all have, like, I mean not majority, everybody on the enemy team has more than 7k gold, even the support. So we have less gold than enemy support at the moment, and I think a lot of that is due to the fact that our support is taking the kills. But you know, once again, you can't really control what your support does. You can only control what you do, so we have to kind of make the best of the situation. So here we're just trying to look for some farm. The enemy team is picking up the dragon, but we don't really care about that because, I mean, our Vi is on the opposite side of the map anyway, so it's not like we can really do you know, very much to kind of stop them from getting the dragon, so can't really do anything really about it. So it is kind of what it is. Anyways, so here we're gonna clear out some jungle camps, clear out the ward, you know, just trying to find farm wherever we can. Now, the top lane, bot lane does have a little bit of farm, but we do have to overextend a lot for that farm because both of our towers are already down, so we really don't want to do that because we're gonna put ourselves in danger, especially as you see Aatrox is now there. So if we had gone for that wave, we would have met the Aatrox at the wave, and that would not have been good. So here we're gonna actually reset. I think we have enough to pick up our Charge Blade, which gives us our E evolution, and our Lux is kind of getting caught. Aatrox is kind of split pushing kind of all the way in at this point. So now what we want to do is want to quickly clear out this mid lane wave, and then rotate bot to stop the Aatrox from pushing. Morgana is already on her way there, so is Vi. This could be a chance to get a pick on Aatrox. So here are basically free firing on him. 3 people are just free hitting him, and Vi takes the kill, which again is a little bit unfortunate because I really need some kills at this point in time. But anyways, we are able to punish the Aatrox for his overextension, which is really the main point of that play. And here Zoe is also overextended, she's getting caught. Here I ult in, finish off the kill with the assassination. And here I flash over, MF goes down as well. Mastery goes onto Morgana, gets rooted, and has to try to survive, but obviously cannot. So I don't know why he stood still on the spot there for like 1 second. I thought maybe he was trying to meditate or something, but he didn't hit the button. But we are able to take all of them out. So it's basically a clean ace for our team at the moment. And here you can actually see Baron is spawning. So it's actually possible to do Baron on spawn because the enemy team is either reviving or dead, and the jungler is still dead for another 15 seconds. But this requires a lot of coordination, and I think that it's really hard to me to get my team to do that. So instead, I'm just gonna farm the bot lane and farm the jungle and kind of just be happy with that.
Enemy turret destroyed.
Now I'm still farming, and my team is kind of making the mistake that the enemy team made, which is the overextending by themselves. You can see Fiora and Vi for some reason are super duper overextended, and they are kind of getting caught out. So, but my team is actually escaping, right? Fiora is actually getting away, Vi is getting away as well. Morgana survives on the sliver of HP. So now I'm here to see if I can help out, and now it's Pyke that's getting caught. Pyke gets run down by me. And the enemy team is now the one over chasing. Master Yi is coming in by himself pretty much. Gets rooted, and I'm kind of just trying to attack him. He's in the meditate, so he's really, really tanky. And unfortunately, I am not able to kill him fast enough because of the insane damage reduction from the meditate. And I decide to commit to the kill and dive the backline, for the kill on the Master Yi. Now, arguably, that may or may not be worth it, but I did get a lot of gold from that particular skirmish, and also just farming the jungle camps and the minion wave. So I am now in a pretty solid spot where I have the most gold on my team at the moment. And now I have comparable gold to people on the enemy team. I say comparable because we still have MF and Aatrox on 12k, so I'm still kind of behind. But, I am trying my best to catch up and, get to where I need to be. Now this game is actually starting to get relatively even because although MF and Aatrox are doing well, the rest of the team kind of are not. Like Pyke is doing fine, but we have Master Yi and Zoe who's basically kind of feeding at this point. Whereas on my team, it's really only the Fiora that's feeding, and everybody else is kind of doing alright, at least comparatively to their counterparts. So, in fact, I'm the one that's behind. I'm like 2k behind the MF. So, this game is still really, really even, and the fights should be pretty even, and it really depends on how the fights are executed as to how the game is really gonna go. So here, Pyke looking for a hook. I go invis to hopefully dodge it, which thankfully we do. And the last dragon is coming up. Now, honestly, this last dragon is kind of irrelevant. I get hooked in by Pyke, but thankfully the follow-up is abysmal from the enemy team. And honestly, this dragon is inconsequential, but we all know Wild Rift, right? Everyone is going to fight. And as the ADC, you have to be there with your team to fight so that you can DPS and deal damage for your team. Vi has the Zeke's convergence, which is pretty weird. Has to flash over. Aatrox is trying to chase in, runs straight into Morgana, gets rooted. And I can't really ult in here because it's a little bit too dangerous. I have to kind of walk the long way around the fight, and Vi gets shut down. Aatrox is now on the chase. I have to flash away because I know Pyke and Aatrox are coming for me. Huge Lux root into Lux ulti there, and here I'm ulting in onto the Master Yi. I get the kill onto the Zoe there, but unfortunately Master Yi goes into the Alpha Strike, and I'm not able to actually hit him, so he does end up killing me, in the long run. Now at this point, I have my first 3 items completed, since the previous base already. But now what I'm doing is I'm swapping out my Gluttonous Griefs for instead getting the armor boots, because obviously on the enemy team, anybody who's actually doing damage is armor. Of course, Aatrox and MF, the 2 main sources of damage. Master Yi can still be a problem even when he's behind, so we have that covered. Pyke is also physical damage, and only Zoe's magic damage, but she's 1 in 8, so she shouldn't be too big of a problem. At least until late game where she can still one-shot us regardless of how, how much she has fed the enemy team. So here, at this point, now we have respawn. Baron is still up, which is of course the main objective we need to take note of. Popping the Squire's Boom there to check if the enemy team is anywhere near there. They are not. Turns out they're at mid lane looking for a fight again, and Fiora is overextended again, probably about to die. Morgana gets a nice pick onto the Pyke, and Master Yi is going all the way in and gets bursted down by the three of us because we have chain CC, and of course Master Yi just gets countered by CC. And here we are 4 men strong. Have to look up for Zoe though. Zoe misses basically everything, gets locked down by Vi, which I don't even think is worth the Vi ulti at this point. Aatrox is now coming for me. I use my invis to kite around the fight, and I'm just blasting him. I have to ult to the back to prevent myself from getting hit by the CC. Nice shield by Morgana. I'm just DPSing him down, but he's not taking a lot of damage because he is really tanky. But thankfully my team is able to kind of pick up the slack and, you know, get the kill onto him. MF is getting run down by the Vi, and we get a clean ace on the enemy team. Now again, ideally here we want to go for Baron instead of going for this inhib, but you know, this being Wild Rift, everybody's just going to go for the inhib, and no one is going to care about Baron. I have to even ping my team back after we've already gone the inhib. But yeah, so we're in a pretty okay spot now. Like, we've kind of come back a little bit into the game, where I did regard the enemy team as doing a little bit better than us, like, throughout the whole game. And even now, you know, I would still say the enemy team is in a better position than us, but we are definitely getting back there. Here, a random fight again just randomly breaks out in the river over pretty much nothing. And the enemy team is chasing in very deep. Vi is 1 HP, Master Yi and Pyke are running after her. She gets hooked back in, and Pyke is heavy committing, but I want to focus down Master Yi because, again, jungle is very important when Baron is up. We get Master Yi, and Vi actually survives on 1 HP despite getting hooked back by the Pyke. I have no idea how she survived that, but she did. And of course now Elder Dragon is spawning in 20 seconds. Master Yi is going to be dead for 40 seconds, and Vi is still alive. Now Pyke actually ends up getting caught out himself, and he dies as well. And now it's a golden opportunity to pick up the Elder, into the Baron, into maybe perhaps ending the game. Now Aatrox gets caught, and he's getting chain CC. He dies as well, and it's just a company of errors from the enemy team. They're all dying one by one. And it's only MF and Zoe who are really left. And honestly, they don't really have a very high chance of stealing it, especially not when Vi decides to ult over the wall and get rid of her. MF is now the only one left, and she's getting hunted down by Vi and Fiora, so no chance she's going to steal the dragon. So despite our jungler leaving the pit, we are still going to be able to secure the dragon. And now it's time for Baron. So I'm pinging for Baron. Vi and Lux are not interested at all. I'm pinging for it. I really need them to come. And I'm pinging assist on top of the Vi's head. Like, come on, Vi, you know, let's just get a free Baron, get a free win. Come on, let's go. There we go. Vi is coming at long last. And now we're going to start focusing the Baron. Now, of course, the enemy team probably knows we're doing it. But, of course, you know, with the Elder, we should be able to turn on them and kill them if, you know, they get too close or anything like that. We do have Fiora guarding the entrance, and Morgana kind of just guarding their entrance as well, so we are able to secure the Baron. We need someone to go back and take the Baron though. And while we're here, we're just gonna steal the enemy jungle. I'm running a little bit low on mana, which is not really the best. And no one is going back to take the Baron, which is basically a huge mistake from my team. Because without getting the Baron without going into the T-Hex basically means that you're not actually getting the benefits of the Baron you just took, which is no good whatsoever. And I can't be the one, because I'm now 10, 5, and 11. I'm the one doing all the damage, so I can't be getting in there, and no one else on my team wants to go in, apparently. So this is not very good. And here my team is even just face tanking inhibitor tower, but we are able to actually take the tower, so I guess that's fine. But that's a really questionable decision. So here I'm really just hitting whoever I can, dodge the Pyke hook. Thankfully we don't get hit by that one. And now I'm out of mana, so I really don't want to fight. But my team is like trying to end the game, so I'm focusing the Nexus a little bit. Aatrox is now in. I exhaust him, and I'm using whatever mana I have left to use my E and run away. We actually kill him from the Elder, but Pyke comes in and cleans basically all of us up, gets a triple kill. Fiora is the last man standing, and decides not to go for the inhib. If I was Fiora, I would have died for the inhib there. Instead, she goes in and dies without getting the inhib instead, it looks like. Yeah, there she goes. So, yeah, she dies without even getting the inhib. If you guys heard that, I'm sorry about that. I actually whacked my mic. Hopefully you guys didn't hear anything. But yeah, you know, that is just kind of a very unfortunate situation. Yeah, so here we do have 2 lanes of super minions going in, but the enemy team is barreling down mid. Someone has to back and stop the super minion wave in the bot lane, because that is going to end the game for us if no one stops it. Master Yi is going back and actually does clear the wave, so thankfully for the enemy team, they don't lose the minions. Thankfully for my team, we have all revived, and then the Baron buff, it has basically run out at this point. Morgana tries to ride it, but it despawns as she's trying to get in, because the timer has kind of run out. And at this point, I have all 4 of my crit items, so I'm really skilled into the game already. Vi has no interest in taking the red buff. Like, I'm doing it and she's not even pathing towards me, so I'm just taking the red buff for myself. And while I'm at it, I'm also taking the Raptors. And Vi is going in onto the Aatrox. The Pyke is joining the fight, MF is joining the fight. It's becoming a huge fight in the mid lane. Unfortunately, my Morgana dies. Aatrox is getting huge amounts of damage dealt to him, but not quite enough. Master Yi now is going in for the Vi. I'm trying to kill the Master Yi. We are able to get him, but the rest of us are not in good shape. And me and Lux have to kind of hightail it out of there because 4 enemy team members are still alive and they're probably trying to hunt us down. Now the saving grace of this is that thankfully there's no objectives for the enemy team to take. There's no Baron, there's no Dragon, they can't actually take anything, and all they can really do is push. However, we do have the super minion wave in the bot lane barreling in into their base, so they actually have to kind of defend that. Like Aatrox has to perma defend that, and while this is all happening, there's nothing much I can really do. So all I'm doing here is just farming, because I still can get my last item, my my Runan. So I still need a little bit more farm for that. And Baron is actually spawning in a couple of seconds. So here I'm just looking for a little bit more farm. I'm really close to Runans. And here I get the last 2 minions that I need. I'm quickly backing as Baron is spawning. I'm actually really late. But the thing is that my team is only just respawning, so it's not that horrible. I do get the Runans, and I'm rushing over to Baron, where we expect the enemy team to, of course, be on Baron, right? Because where else would they be? They are doing the Baron, and we need to stop them from doing it. So here, taking a look at the health of the Baron, it's really low. It's really low. I flash over to join the fight. Morgana actually steals the Baron, which I'm not sure how that happened. But at this point, the enemy team is now running for the hills. They're like kind of in no man's land. All just getting run down as I run myself into a wall. Everybody dies with the exception of Pyke. And honestly, I didn't really do very much in that fight. I'm not even gonna lie. I pretty much flashed the wall, got in a few autos, and that's pretty much all I did. And now with the wave here, we can just end the game. Of course, Pyke cannot stop us by himself. So there we have it. There is the Kaisa crit supplementary guide. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.